This is RTV6 News at 11, working for you.
New at 11, protesters are putting their demands in writing, not on paper, but along the canal in downtown Indianapolis for everyone to see. Good evening to you at 11 o'clock. I'm Mark Mullins.
And I'm Amanda Starantino. WRTV's Cameron Riddle shows how demonstrators are getting creative in their calls for justice.
On the canal tonight, the messages and chalk drawings are loud, colorful, and clear.
Abolish the FOP, justice for Dre John, justice for Mikhail Rose, no justice, no peace, of course, Black Lives Matter.
Zion Smith is among the protesters who spent the night writing out the call for change in Indianapolis. He says, make no mistake, this may not be a massive march, but it is a protest.
Social justice doesn't end after a week. Everything does not necessarily have to be a big protest, and there are plenty of people around here, so they can see the signs, they can see the messages written all over the ground just as easy as they can see a protest going by.
The peaceful protest is led by members of Indy 10 Black Lives Matter, who say while the national focus is on the death of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, Indianapolis has Dre John Reed and Mikhail Rose, two cases of black men killed by police where not all of the details have been released to the public or their families.
With Mikhail Rose, they released the autopsy report, but not the 911 call. With Dre John, we're still waiting on his autopsy report. Both sides just have demands that haven't been met, but we need the officers to get fired, take away their pension, and give us full transparency.
Protesters say until those demands are met, protesting will continue every week in some form or fashion.
If we stop now, everything that we did weeks ago would be for no reason. We have to keep the pressure up, we have to keep the momentum up. Even if it's not a big momentum, you don't need a big crowd of people to make a difference. To those who thought it was going to fizzle out, it's not fizzling out.
Downtown, Cameron Riddle, RTV6.
And protesters say if you would like to join them, you can find more info on the Indy 10 Black Lives Matter Facebook page. And for the latest details about the Reed and Rose cases, go to theindychannel.com.
It's a conversation many parents have the luxury of shying away from, and that is talking about race with their kids. But with protests for racial justice happening across the country and right here in central Indiana, children have questions that cannot be ignored. RTV6's Cornelia Hawker spoke to a Hendricks County mom who is using her voice, her experience, and community connections to help people educate themselves and their families.
Natalie Brake is a mom of three who's teaching her kids about race and its role in our society. She tells me other parents should be doing the same.
You know, you see that child who's in the supermarket who will say, you know, why does that person's skin not match mine? And instead of having an open, honest conversation with a child, we shush them.
Natalie, the chair for the Hendricks County Alliance for Diversity, says moments like that can be powerful lessons for kids.
So they learn that talking about race is something bad. And we would like to turn that conversation around to a positive thing. At
first glance, many people may wonder why Natalie, a white woman, is so passionate about this issue.
One of my children has autism. And so looking at it through his lens, for him particularly, there is no quiet voice sometimes, or there's no, topics that he doesn't always understand the social cues with.
Natalie can't ignore her son's questions.
When he meets someone new, he wants to know what color they call their skin. And he wants to know why they're so tall. And he wants to know why their hair is long or short.
She's had to talk to him about everything, which gives her a unique perspective when talking to and educating other people who look like her about race.
Even well-intended people can say things or do things that are racist in our society, and we need to own up to it.
The Alliance for Diversity teamed up with Childcare Answers to host Talking to Children About Race. Natalie says interest in these types of workshops has been overwhelming, something she likes to see in her community because it means people want to educate themselves, which in turn educates their children, helping make our world a better place.
So you can't expect your kids to have those conversations with you if you're not willing to have the conversation with them.
Working for you, Cornelia Hawker, RTV6.
The next workshop is scheduled on July 14th at 7 p.m. We'll put a link to register in this story on our website, theindychannel.com. And tomorrow afternoon at 12:30, Indianapolis Public Schools will host a similar virtual event called A Conversation About Race in the Classroom. You can sign up for that at myips.org.
Now to the latest on the COVID-19 pandemic. We start with the economic impact. Today, Governor Eric Holcomb announced $25 million in relief for renters. The program will provide up to $500 in assistance for 4 months. To be eligible, you must have lost your job or part of your income due to COVID-19. Your current household income, including unemployment, must be less than your household income on March 6th. And you cannot have received rental assistance from another source. And housing officials say whether you receive assistance or not, anyone having trouble making rent or mortgage payments should openly communicate with landlords or lenders.
The $500 a month is not designed to fully cover a renter's household's monthly payment. In Indiana, the median rent is $825. So it's important that the household continue to work with their landlords to make a payment plan to make those payments.
And this program is available to residents in every county except Marion, which receives separate federal funding for rental assistance. Payments will be made directly to landlords, and landlords must agree to participate. Applications will be accepted online starting on July 13th at indianahousingnow.org. And the toll COVID-19 is taking on Hoosier lives. According to the State Department of Health, 2,386 people have died from the virus in Indiana. 9 newly reported deaths happened between June 6th and Monday. More than 431,000 people have been tested, and 10% have tested positive.
Coronavirus cases are up in at least half of the country. Hospitalizations are on the rise in 21 states. ABC's Irene Shaw reports the crisis is impacting travel nationally and possible internationally.
As the U.S. reports almost 35,000 new coronavirus cases in just one day, governors from New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut requiring visitors from hotspots to quarantine for 2 weeks to help curb outbreaks.
We now have to make sure that the rate continues to drop.
New York's governor saying police will stop cars with out-of-state license plates. Visitors from states with 10% infection rates could face a $10,000 fine if they don't quarantine. One of those states, Florida, breaking a record Wednesday after over 5,000 positive cases. And Texas, where this couple married over half a century died next to each other in a Fort Worth hospital an hour apart.
My mom said, okay, see you tomorrow. And then she died laughing. Yeah, she knows they're not tomorrow.
Over in Harris County, Texas Methodist Hospital's ICU beds filling up. Their nursing director describing the heartbreaking losses.
When they don't survive, you know, knowing that we did everything we possibly could to restore their, okay, you're gonna make me cry now.
While states limit travelers, the European Union now reviewing which countries they will allow visitors from when they lift restrictions next week. An EU spokesperson saying right now, the U.S., Brazil, and Russia do not appear to make the cut. This Washington Post graph, based on Johns Hopkins data, shows Europe has recovered from the pandemic far better than the U.S. Even though health officials say right now younger people are driving up these numbers, some of the deadliest cases have been at places like Holyoke Soldiers Home in Massachusetts. 97 veterans dying there in just the last 3 months. Investigators calling it a tragic failure to protect soldiers after discovering a move to consolidate veterans mixed those who were infected with those without symptoms. Susan Kenny lost her dad at this home.
My father's birthday was yesterday, and I fully believe he could have been here for that. That this not happened.
The virus is already taking a major toll on the economy, and now the IMF is predicting that the U.S. economy will shrink by 8% this year because of the coronavirus crisis. Soreen Shah, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Transgender students may not be able to get a Catholic education at schools in the Archdiocese of Indianapolis. Under a new policy, children who do not identify as the gender assigned to them at birth could be denied enrollment. The diocese covers 39 counties in central and southern Indiana. Decisions would be made on a case-by-case basis according to the guidelines. And the policy notes that students can be admitted if they follow church teachings. State Senate candidate Belinda Drake, who is part of the LGBTQ community, is calling for added protections in state civil rights legislation.
Our educational system is supposed to be welcoming, it's supposed to be inclusive, it's supposed to provide everyone access. And it was just heartbreaking to see that our most vulnerable, our children, now have to battle this.
The Archdiocese of Indianapolis released a statement saying in part, quote, "Some students who attend the Archdiocese schools question their sexual identity, and we recognize that their struggles have a profound effect on their lives. The Archdiocese goal is to always walk in accompaniment with young people and their families." You can read the full statement on our website at theindychannel.com.
A Hendricks County mother has filed a formal complaint with the Indiana Department of Education alleging the Northwest Hendricks County School Corporation failed to address her son's special needs. Tiffany Matthews' son, Alex, is a 15-year-old student at Tri-West High School. He has been diagnosed with ADHD and has struggled in school since the 5th grade. Tiffany says that she tried to get her son extra help and to have the district evaluate Alex, but says her requests fell on deaf ears.
A very bright kid when it comes to things, and he knows quite a bit. He just does not learn the same way that they're trying to teach everybody. I wonder how many other kids they've done it to. But I want Alex to be able to get the education that he deserves. And it's not fair to him.
Tiffany's attorney says schools have to follow a federal mandate to identify and evaluate children with disabilities. We reached out to the Northwest Hendricks School Corporation for their response to Tiffany's complaint. A district spokeswoman says they do not comment on pending litigation and are legally obligated to protect student privacy. Kevin.
Temperatures on the rise, humidity will climb as well, but what about those rain chances? We'll talk about all three elements coming up.
Also coming up here, residents line up to make their voices heard about plans to build a metal recycling plant in central Indiana.
And some people are considering drastic options while struggling to pay off student loans. What you need to know about student debt and bankruptcy.
Gleaners Food Bank of Indiana.
This is RTV6 News at 11, working for you.
Welcome back. Streets in busy areas of Indianapolis will stay closed through the 4th of July weekend at least. That's next weekend. Mayor Joe Hogsett announced the extension today. Parts of Broad Ripple and Mass Ave have been shut down to traffic for about a month to allow space for outdoor dining and to give visitors extra room to social distance. I know a lot of people probably were outside tonight, Kevin, enjoying that beautiful evening we had, and the sunset was just gorgeous.
Put it in the books, another great day. Now, while we had all that sunshine for most of central Indiana, we did have a few downpours to the north, Amanda. Still a little rain left there. We'll get a closer look here. And it had some lightning and heavy downpours. Again, fairly confined, though, to the north. There's the last of at least that batch rolling from Hartford City through Portland and then into Ohio. Well, if you have yard work and you want to get some mowing done, your strategy should be to complete that before Saturday. Our rain chances minimal Thursday and Friday. Then Friday night into the weekend, our rain chances pick up. You can see a daily chance for showers and thunderstorms Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. And as far as our temperatures, close to 90 degrees on Friday. That comes with more humidity. The humidity and temperatures will stay fairly consistent as we go through the weekend, and our rain chances, once they reach about 50–60%, will be consistent as well. Friday night, 7 o'clock. I just want to pinpoint the most likely time for the overnight thunderstorms, 11 o'clock Friday night. This line could be strong, could be an isolated severe storm in there, Lafayette to Peru to Fort Wayne, as it drops south during the overnight, still producing some gusty winds and heavy rainfall. Then it fades away by morning. What that does, though, is set the stage for redevelopment of thunderstorms as we go through the weekend. Our weekend temperatures, mid-80s, depending on the timing of the rain, maybe a little bit warmer than that. Again, you've got to realistically plan on any outdoor activities being interrupted at some point, not a total washout, and these overnight lows will be around 70. We've talked about this, the plume of dust from the Saharan desert. It reaches the Gulf of Mexico by the end of the week and then pivots north, but it's thinning out. It may have a glancing effect on Indiana, changing the sky to hazy conditions over the weekend. All in the 60s now. Barely, though. Peru's at 60, while it's 67 in Sullivan. Temperatures during the day tomorrow, as we mentioned, out the door will be comfortable, dry. Temperatures warm quickly, 76 by 11 a.m. Afternoon high temperatures with the humidity not quite as bad as it will be Friday and the weekend. low to mid 80s. Any chance for thunderstorms north and east of Indy during the afternoon. Friday into Saturday, our wind picks up out of the southwest. It's that southwest wind that will deliver more humid air, warmer temperatures, and that's where we'll stay. You can see the 7-day forecast pretty consistently. Temperatures middle to upper 80s. The most likely time for rain, that 3-day stretch, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Morning lows for 4 mornings in a row will be right at 70 degrees. That's summer.
All right, Kevin, thank you. New at 11 tonight, the community weighed in on a proposal to bring a recycling plant to Cass County. Wales Sustainable Products wants to build a zinc recycling and production facility at the Agribusiness Park west of Logansport. Many neighbors have health concerns about this project. At this evening's public meeting at the county fairgrounds, some people held signs saying no to WSP. Residents say they hope county leaders listen to the community.
I'm hoping that they open their eyes and they open their hearts. The councilmen and the commissioners, I hope they finally realize what kind of opposition is behind this. I've never seen anything like this in my life.
I do not want WSP coming into this community. I think it's totally adverse to what this county is, an agricultural county.
The company says it plans to invest $110 million in the plant and create 200 jobs over time. No decision was made tonight. Additional meetings are planned in the days ahead. Well, back in August, Wales Sustainable Products scrapped a plan to build a steel dust recycling plant at the former Borg Warner site in Muncie. They made that decision after hundreds of residents expressed health and safety concerns.
The Rebound Indiana is bringing you advice from experts to help you make it through the economic crisis. And many people with private student loans have been struggling during the pandemic. Those loans are not eligible for the government's penalty-free repayment pause, which is in effect until at least October. It only applies to federal student loans. A new survey from the site Student Loan Hero shows about 70% of borrowers have been successful in getting help from private lenders, but nearly 3 out of 10 have thought about filing for bankruptcy over the last 3 months. Attorney Christy Arkovich specializes in those types of cases.
What we're targeting is someone who usually had federal loans and private loans. And we are usually arguing that the private loans were taken outside the cost of education, and therefore they're just like any other debt, credit card debts and such, and they can be discharged.
Outside the cost of education means more money has been loaned out than what the person needed. Arkovich says her goal with bankruptcy cases is not necessarily to get rid of the entire debt, but to make payments sustainable and affordable with an end date. Student debt specialists say this option is an extreme measure and not for everyone.
Bankruptcy is a last resort option because it will really force you as not only a student loan borrower, but as a citizen and a consumer to start from scratch on your finances. So your student loan debt shouldn't be the only reason that you would consider bankruptcy.
Something to consider first with private student loans is debt consolidation. You can work with a nonprofit credit counselor on that. There are also repayment assistance programs for private loans. Federal student loans have more options, including student loan forgiveness programs.
The pandemic is preventing many college students from earning credits and experience through summer internships. Some top Indianapolis companies are creating new ways to provide opportunities for interns. More than 450 students are taking part in IndyFluence with corporations like Lilly, Roche Diagnostics, Anthem, and One America. Many of them are not actually in Indianapolis because of COVID-19 restrictions. MIT student Anu Oru is interning at Eli Lilly while staying on campus in Massachusetts.
I think it still feels a bit strange, you know, after I have a shower, just coming to my living room and then I'm at work. I find that endlessly interesting. I don't feel like I'm at a complete disadvantage though. I think because of all these virtual platforms, like we're using one now, it's not that difficult to stay connected.
The program is about more than helping students. Company leaders say it's a way for interns to get to know Indianapolis and hopefully influence them to live and work in the Circle City after graduation.
We have over 90,000 students that go to school every year in the state of Indiana. And what happens is, 1 to 2 years after graduation, we're only able to hold on to about half of those students.
We want them to think of this as a vibrant, fantastic place with a lot of opportunity to grow their career, as well as a place that's innovative, exciting, and where they can make a difference.
IndyFluence is a 4-week program. Interns get to know their companies and the city through various digital platforms.
This goes well beyond kind of the glossiness of hotels and restaurants and having a getaway.
Coming up, Congress is considering a travel tax credit for families, how the bill could impact tens of thousands of workers in Indiana.
Some people run in the best circles.
It could take years for the travel industry to recover from the economic impact of the pandemic, and Congress is debating a bill aimed at helping speed up the process. Scripps reporter Jessica Paris learned how travel tax credits for families could benefit Central Indiana.
Could be used for airfare, for hotel stay, for meals and attractions within a certain distance away from home, let's say.
Modeled after the homebuyer tax credit that was created in the recession of 2008, Tori Emerson Barnes with the U.S. Travel Association says if passed, this financial incentive would be crucial towards putting the travel industry and the millions of people it employs back to work.
Post 9/11, it took about 18 months for the travel industry to come back. From an economic standpoint, this is 9 times worse than 9/11. So really what we have to do is we have to get people moving again to bring the economy back.
The travel tax credit would pay back families 50% of their travel expenses up to $4,000. The refund would be for travel expenses made between the time of the bill's enactment and the end of 2021.
So we know that we need to get people traveling again in a health and safe way. And so we think that establishing an individual travel tax credit that can help motivate folks and push them a little bit into the market will go a long way. And so we've been working with members of Congress.
Chris Gall of Visit Indy says the travel tax credit would be huge for businesses in Indianapolis.
The tourism ecosystem is made up of lots of different businesses. Most consumers would think of hotels, airlines, museums, restaurants, and bars, but there are also companies who clean linens of those hotels, flower companies.
Some people are concerned about the spread of COVID with more travel around the country, right? So what are businesses that you've seen that they're doing to kind of ease travelers' concerns?
From Indiana's perspective, in the capital city of Indianapolis, we have taken great strides to put people first and foremost in the health of our residents and then subsequently our visitors.
We all believe that there need to be appropriate sanitation, there need to be appropriate barriers in place. We support the use of masks. We think a phased and layered approach is critical to the health and safety of the American public, but we don't think you have to pick the public health or the economic health of the country.
In the Indianapolis area, Visit Indy says more than 83,000 people rely on tourism for their jobs.
This goes well beyond kind of the glossiness of hotels and restaurants and having a getaway. There's real people, real Americans who are working and depending on tourism for a paycheck.
The U.S. Travel Association hopes Congress votes on the bill by early August. I'm Jessica Paris reporting.
Dry in the morning, dry in the afternoon for nearly all of us. Temperatures in the mid-80s, humidity lags behind, warmer and turning kind of wet as we go into the weekend. Amanda?
Thanks, Kevin, and thank you for making RTV6 your choice for news. Good Morning Indiana starts at 4:30. Good night.